Um, so he's going to try to do this again. Yeah, because last time I couldn't go past the I couldn't like go where I needed to go. I was just like stuck for like 1 hour, scared and stuff. I just wanna like I just wanna like okay, I just wanna get this over with. Oh god. Oh god. Alright. Oh god! I already saw that coming. I saw that yesterday. I still got spooked. Whatever.
Stay away.
Oh, the ball went here. Oh no. Okay. Alright. Okay. Do I have to pick this up first? Okay, because does it open? Or do we have to open it? Oh, we have to open it. Alright, so this is where I last picked up. I really don't like the fact that I saw like
Oh God.
the
I guess
girl
this is it.
right outside the forest. Okay. Am I still ready for that? Probably not, but I really need to get this over with. Oh, damn it. Um, okay. That was not it. Oh. I feel like that's even worse. I feel like I could have just preferred like this, like a jump scare right there. I feel like that would have been even better. Oh no. But those, what those, what does those circles mean? What is that? Um, uh, okay. That's very nice. That's very normal. Oh man. Okay, and my panic self is back yet again. God damn it. Okay, where do I go? Because we were there earlier. Find the serum ingredients. There's more? I think we have to go outside. Because I know Zoe has the head. So all we need to do is just to leave the house. And I don't think that. I think that's Evelyn maybe. I don't think she wants us to leave. I mean, she wants us to leave actually. That's why we heard someone say stay away. Okay. What? Okay, man, I want to get this over, but I'm still kind of scared. Ah, oh, God. Okay. Alright. We're like a secret pathway though, cause like she like vanished like to our right we exited when we got the arm from the core. Probably not. I think I just have to leave. Okay. You have no ammo. Get out! I have nothing. God damn it! Uh, how do I grab this? Okay, where the heck did you come from? Okay, how do we? Alright. Okay, I knew there was a ghost behind that door. Ah, okay, alright. Alright. Um. Okay, how do I equip this? Or could I just? I don't have an what's the equivalent? Uh, um. What? Alright, I'm getting kind of hooked up again. Um. Oh god damn it! Where is that? Oh god! So, damn it! Come on, die! Please just die! Please just die! Please die! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Dude, just die! I don't have good weapons here right now. Just die! Yeah, like that. Shoot! Come on! You can tell I'm really bad at video games the way I'm attacking the monster. I think they're dead. They're dead, right? Are we molding? Wait. Um. Do I? Okay, I feel like I feel like I gotta administer the medicine. Alright, I'm stuck. Where am I? Okay, I don't think. Wait a minute. No, I went the wrong way. So I'm guessing the rooms and hallways are infested with that thing, those kinds of thing. Okay, I'm. Thank you for the follow. Who followed? Um. Okay, sorry, I can't see right now. I'm handling something at the moment from my squad, and I will pull up your stream. Adding on Discord. Like a raid? Wait, why do you need to? Why do I need to add you on Discord? What for? Um, we are handling something at the moment. I think I'll just ask later when they arrive, I suppose. Alright. Um, where am I? Okay, something's definitely here. What else? Um, where is it? Uh, mhm. Ah! 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 No! Come on! Just die! 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 Ah! Okay, maybe once I died. Oh man, no, I think we got decapitated, I think. Oh, okay. Okay, we're dead. We're like actually so dead. Right. Come on! Wait, do I have to... Do I have to get the leg? I can't? So what now? Wait a minute, what now? Oh wait, got the shotgun. Uh, okay, we're dying. I'm dead. I'm dead. Uh, you are dead. Oh, we can put the body parts back. Free to get decapitated. Alright. Maybe, oh, so it actually saves when we get the arm. So that's very convenient. Okay, wait a minute. How do I... What's the this? Use the shot. Okay, so there is something out there. Yeah, try me right now. I dare you, dude. Alright. Uh, something here. I just don't know. Okay, it's really dark. I can't see anything. Oh, oh, you good? Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright. At least I got one more ammo left in me. I need. Okay. Okay, where's the other one? What's this? Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. Alright. Alright. Are you dead? Ugh, you're not? Oh, okay, okay, let's go back. Okay, wait, how do I put the sample? I mean, I managed to escape that, so, I mean, I mean, well, if it works, I guess. Alright, okay. I haven't met, Marguerite and Jackson, I think. I think I feel like if I exit now, he's definitely like right there. Okay. There's a phone here. Nothing. I feel like I have to kill that. Okay, I feel like I have to kill that monster actually before I even get to I feel like Zoe will actually call if I manage to kill off everyone. Okay, so fine. I'll kill that off. Did it despawn? Wait a minute. Did it despawn? Or is my theory wrong? Because I have a feeling my theory is wrong. Because I know one spawns here, right? I feel like it just despawned. I feel like it despawned. Hmm. Okay. Alright. Wait a minute. What was... Okay, so I don't think Zoe's actually supposed to pick up the call. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright. Is there a save point in here? Because I have a feeling I'm definitely gonna get um. Alright. Okay, just gonna open this door. Oh, god damn it. Okay, okay, so now I want to pick up.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I got it. Are we really gonna be able to make serum with this thing?
It'll be fine. After we make it, we can get out of here. Together. I'll be waiting for you in the trailer.
Alright.
I don't. I don't think this is the end, isn't it? Because we haven't met Lucas yet. I have a feeling he's gonna like, jump out somewhere in the old house. Or maybe necessarily not. Maybe he like drag us into like, cause like there's like a place near Zoe's trailer, right? I have a feeling that's his, and I have a feeling like he'll like try to get us, or like I mean drag us there if if he won't like jump us here. Uh, alright, okay. Wait, can't I go here? Oh God. Oh, yellow paint. So I have to go here. Alright. Um, I hate this game. Really hate this game. Nah, just kidding. I love this game. Alright. There's a ladder. I don't know what objects. I mean, Lucas is there. What if? What if? I don't know. I haven't seen gameplay of this game, so I don't know if he surprises us or something here. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Alright, I have a feeling I'm gonna get jump scared pretty soon after this. Alright, okay, it does nothing. Nothing yet. Quick rainbow outfit tool. Not that we see the market house.
Now where the hell are you? You know, never mind. We only need the head, and you've got it. This is gonna help me and me, right?
Hey, buddy. I thought you should know.
Oh
I
god.
decided that Zoe needed a timeout. She and Mia are here with me. And they're keeping each other company.
Just let them both go. What do you need them for?
Nuh-uh. That's family business, Ethan, and not your concern. Understand? want the head, feel free to come by any time and I'll give it to you. But only if you participate in a little activity I put together just for you.
What
That
activity?
doesn't sound good.
I know you're excited, but don't worry. It's not going anywhere. First step I need you to take, partner, is for you to take a peek inside the fridge in the trailer there.
Fuck you.
Oh, come on now, don't be like that. You want to have some fun, don't you? Now, look in the fridge.
I should I should probably tag this as having violent depictions because I have a feeling I'm gonna see something really gruesome. Wait, give me a second. Content classification, violent. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get some ammo first because I have okay. Uh, I have strong chem fluid. There's a lot of resources I think from the other house. I don't think I need this anymore. Right. Okay. Um. Neither is this. Okay, I don't have ammo. Oh, this is the, is this a handgun? How do I make ammo for the, oh, I could, use, um, yeah. Could probably combine this with the solid fuel. Wait, what did I do? Oh, wait, just one. Then we'll combine that. Uh, not again. Alright, I'm a little dumb. Oh, this one. Grenade launcher? I don't have a grenade launcher. Wait a minute. Wait, what? Wait, I'm actually so confused. What? Wait, uh, what was that? Wait, flame rounds. I don't have a grenade launcher, I guess. I combine one. What did that do? Just quantum fluid. Okay, I still have fuel. No, I need chem fluid. I need the standard. So, no. Alright. You know what? Before I do anything like, even like remotely, like something, I think I should just scout the other house first before, because I know I still have, like, what is that? Oh, yes, put ammo in the toilet. That's very sanitary. 45 mag? Isn't this the 45 mag? It's a G17. So we can't use it. This is a stabilizer. I have 3 points. I think that's. Oh, that's the mag. Okay. Okay, alright. Should I scout the other house? Wait. You know what? Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this stabilizer thing. uh making me loading faster. Ouch. That looks like the food. Okay. 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 What if I just like save now? Because I bought the stabilizer. Just in case. Maybe I forget. Alright. Oh man. I am definitely gonna see something cool on my day. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The pig is waiting for you in the deception room. What the hell is wrong with his family? Dude, what is wrong with him? Oh god. Okay, I'm greatly unprepared because I use the shotguns not fair. Di dissection room? Wait a minute. Dissection room? Find the deputy's body in the dissection. It's in the main house, right? It's not in here. We have to go there? Go down there? Alright. Okay, I think I need the keys again, just in case. Because I don't, I don't know. I think I don't think I should scout the old house now or the greenhouse because I did say I think I didn't scout enough. Like I mean like there's still resources there, but hey, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna save again for extra measure. Alright, alright. I'm just gonna open the door. What was that? I just realized this chair here. Not the coin plating. Okay. Oh God. Okay. You give me a second. Okay. Let me catch my breath first. Like this family is rich. I just realizing like this water spread is always I think and the fact that they have like I don't know 2 houses or something and the main house even the old house is kind of big actually and it has its they have their own greenhouse they have their own I think like lake not so I don't think like they have their own lake they have like one part I think. Oh man, I'm kind of getting sleepy. Imagine if I slept midstream again. That would be so embarrassing. I could not recover. just gonna do it. I'm just gonna open the door. I'm just gonna open the door. Uh, shoot. I think that's a way out, actually. I don't think that's like Lucas's like separate room because I thought that was Lucas's separate room. It was the deputy's body, the dissection room. Okay, I did say I want this to be over. At the same time, I'm kind of freaking out. I'm kind of um maybe a little bit petrified. Um, okay, now here is the part where I justify these scared easily tag because uh, I'm just gonna no, I can't close my eyes because what if there's like a monster like, right out there at the door? Can't what? So like I die? Huh? What if I? Oh man, I am actually kind of pissed. Alright, you know what? Fine. Let's just do this. Oh, oh, not fear. Clovis fear. Oh, oh man. Not the lad spike. Oh, oh, God. Oh my god. Can't open. Can't bring myself to open the door. Okay, sorry. Alright, I will open the door soon. I just. Oh man, I am actually kind of like really scared right now. Oh man, what if I'm just like not cut out for this horror kind of stuff? What if I just stuck to playing other stuff instead of whatever this is? Alright, I got it. I think I got this. Oh man, I am very underprepared though. I don't think I should go right now. Because look, I have like technically almost no ammo, so like what I do is like melee style. Wait, what if I like hmm. Okay. Okay, let me think of a plan first. Cause cause like I said, I almost have no ammo and I don't think I could survive by like stabbing them alone. So um I know Marguerite that uh and I'm not sure if Evelyn is still messing around at the old house slash greenhouse. I wanna check if I'm gonna try to loot the greenhouse first, cause like I said earlier, I know there's like resources I haven't grabbed there yet. So even if it's like not that many, at least I'm kind of like prepared to kind of like prepared to defeat whatever's in there. So I do want to finish the stream. I don't want it to end right now. Like I don't want to like like get over it as soon as I can. But then again, I do want to like look at the greenhouse, see if you know what. My grid is dead. I'm just gonna scout the greenhouse first. I have a feeling that's our exit because I can't find any other thing. Imagine if there's still something here, I would actually be kind of annoyed. Okay. Oh, there you go. We got ammo for a handgun, I think. That's what. Two. Okay. Okay. It's a good call then that I went back. Alright. Okay. Let me scout the area for a second. Okay, we got gem fluid. What is this? Strong gem fluid. Sure. Alright. Might be something. Okay, maybe I've already loaded that. Okay, another gem fluid. I think that's another gem fluid. Oh, it's... Ah, okay. Um, wait a minute. I don't want to waste ammo. I don't want to trash that. I don't want to trash fluid either. I think I'm just probably gonna like run back and forth to and from here. I actually really like how the game looks. It's like it, it looks realistic enough. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I have no idea. Okay, do I have like since I'm scouting, close the door. Right. But do we have a herb? No. Okay, but we do have this. Okay. No, 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 no. Okay. Give me a second. What if I like grab this? Had this in hand with me just in case. Okay. So I can like make it even like stronger medicine or something. Okay. Chem fluid is a solid fuel. I combine one chem fluid. We get 100 burner fluid. Okay. Burner fuel. Okay, that's good. Um, there you go. Alright. Um, the shotgun is, I I want to get like shotgun ammo because that is kind of like my best bet with like damage. Because like earlier I could like one shot the monsters at the second floor of the old house if I aimed the bullet to their head. Okay, so the I'm still gonna like be cautious just in case because I have a feeling this game is gonna randomly attack me or something. Hmm. Oh yeah, that guy told me to add them on Discord. Maybe after I loot, after like after this, I'll send him a message. Where are you running? Where was I earlier? Okay, because I can't stack chem fluid apparently. There you go. Oh, I could have just combined that. But that's fine. That's 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 fine. I don't want to waste my psychostimulants right now. I could. There's a ladder right there. Oh, bugs. I love bugs. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. I did a full loop. What's the ladder? I think there's still some resources left in this floor. I think, but maybe not. And I've actually uh collected them all, but I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure. So I need to double check. But if basing on what I've seen, oh, there's ammo. It's for the sorry, handgun as well. Alright, so looks like we're gonna be doing some more pistol stuff. Pistol stuff? Alright, so okay, I think I'm just gonna spend that chem fluid on the burner fuel. Okay. Alright, I'm out. I actually really like the map design. I like how the greenhouse is pretty close to the greenhouse is close to the trailer like stuff. So it's not a long way out, I guess. Alright, I'm just gonna combine this with that, make another unit fuel. Can I like, can I like, reload this? So, uh, I might, I might need this because I have a feeling. AI viewers tweenboost.com. I agree. Um, just in case, I might wanna grab my car keys as soon as possible. Maybe maybe even driver's license. I might need it. Oh man, my inventory is actually full. You know what? That's fine. At least I do have a be prepared. Okay, I think it's a good thing I went to the greenhouse actually. All right. Um. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. Cause if you remember, someone in the chat told me to add them. I'll see what that's all about in a bit. So I'll be right back. Okay. Um. So I hope that goes well, because I have no idea what that's for. I think I'm just gonna use the handgun for now. Boy, I have a lot of ammo. Okay. I don't. I still don't feel like I'm ready for this, but I have a feeling like I have a feeling that I have a feeling the surprise is the grandma actually, because maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be like a random monster. Or something. I don't know. All right, you know what? How do I go to the basement again? Wait a minute. Give me a second. I have to go to that door. My is correct. Or is it? Wait. Oh, huh? Huh? So is it this door? No. Okay. I'm trying to get here, but I am directionally challenged. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's right here. Never mind. Okay. Oh man. I really want to get over this. Okay. Not okay. I remember like the last time I went here, like the grandma was here. I think the last time I wait, I no, because I came back to this room and I know she was gone. Okay, that's my handgun. Oh wait, the guys in the friend request actually responded. Alright. You give me a second. I'm gonna um send out my okay, so I'm just I guess I'm gonna like poop. I'm gonna kill the uh no, not Sam. I guess I'll have to wait a minute. Is my map sorry, is my map right? Because if I go here, oh yeah, it is right. Because oh, I've never been to the workshop. Huh? Now isn't that interesting? Also, the kids' room, master's bedroom. I don't have that key, right? I don't have that key. Yeah, I don't have that key. It's supposed to be like a snake kind of thing. And my inventory is full anyway. Hmm. Okay. This is boring. I'm sorry. I'm also bored. Okay, give me a second. I put the wrong card. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, alright. Oh, oh. Oh, wait, wait, okay. 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 It's showing up on screen. My bad. Really don't want to know what's behind that door. But I also do want to get this over with. I do want to finish the game. I did say on the title of the stream that I want I, I want to try to finish the game now, and I don't want to repeat of yesterday's stream. So I'm sorry if like that's annoying. Trying to like uh, the door to the basement is open. So do I even have a extension? Oh, thank you, Gamer Show One for following. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Even though like the stream's been pretty boring so far. Damn it. Um, okay, okay, but I am going the right way, right? I am. Shoot. Um, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Okay. Hmm. Give me a second. Because there's a checkpoint here. Thank you, Ghostman, for following. I appreciate it. We're halfway there. That's cool. That's cool actually. Okay, let me save this checkpoint. Just in case, because I don't wanna um oh man, I'm so out of it right now. Um w- wait, why am I still at the inventory? What if I put this here? I have a feeling if a car in the driver's license. I have a feeling I need this pretty soon. So I'm just gonna like keep it with me at all times. I wonder where the followers is coming from. I mean my new followers. Okay, let's just get this over with. I hate this. I hate this. Come on, let's go. Okay, apologize if I keep on doing this because that's just um just my way of trying to ease to via tension. Whatever that means, honestly I don't know. Why is it so dark? Why did I close it? Oh man, why did I close it? So opening is even more scarier. God. Oh man, you can tell I'm actually kind of getting tired. Yeah, okay, I think I'm just gonna. Oh man, this game is so boring, just full of breaks. I'm really sorry, guys, especially to the ones who just followed. Um, I'm gonna take like a, a really short break to like catch my breath. Give me a second. All right, okay. Just gonna. Oh, God damn it! All right, go this way. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, before. Okay, I wanna plan my route. So it says I have to go to this section. So I have to go. Okay, Okay, I have to pass by this door, the incinerator, and then okay, pass by that, and then this one is to the workshop. I don't know how do I Am I able to access that? I'll just go this way. I think it's too bad. I think. I don't. No. Okay, I have to go here. What was that? Um, low? I don't want to be. I want to be done. I want. Okay, let's go through. Let's go. Oh, something is definitely going to attack us, isn't it? I saw that save. I saw that. Uh. Yeah, I'm just not gonna describe it. That autosave thing. Okay. Yeah, cause like, yeah, that autosave thing. Something is definitely gonna happen, and I don't like that. Gonna ready my gun. Okay, I'm pretty close to the reception room, honestly. Okay, just gotta pass through. Oh shoot! Oh, god damn it! I knew it. It was the grandma. I knew the grandma was gonna get involved now. I swear to God. God damn it. God. All right. I knew it. I knew that was the surprise that Lucas was talking about. Oh, oh my God. Now the good thing about being a small stream is the fact that I can get away with being getting a really, it's like cultivating a really boring stream such as this. Love that for me, honestly. Um, uh, alright, I, okay. Oh man, okay. I don't think I'm ready yet, okay. Catch my breath. I'm 19, by the way. I'm like a bit too grown to be acting like this. Oh god. Okay, okay, let me catch my breath. Okay, okay. What's gonna happen though? Like, is Grandma gonna attack us? She probably will. I have a feeling she's like really strong. I have a just my gut feeling, my intuition. Wait, I'm not ready yet. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Keep on like taking breaks to catch my breath, even though I. Alright. Um. Um. Man, if I was even Winters, I simply would not be in this situation. Or if I was in this universe, I would just not be in. I could not be any of the main characters, to be honest. I think I would just be as. I think it would just be like Oh, like a zombie or something. Okay, when I yawn, it, it doesn't mean that I'm bored. I just haven't enough sleep. Just haven't had enough sleep, I guess. All right, I think I can take. I have a feeling Grandma's gonna attack us. I have a feeling she's suddenly not gonna go. I don't know Dawson's the right word. Maybe Dawson's the right word. Maybe she's gonna attack us because last time that we saw Grandma in uh um in somewhere at the second floor, we saw her and then we saw her again. Like, what was that? Wait, give me a second. Here, somewhere here. Oh, I don't like the sound effects. They're actually getting louder. It's like the trumpets, like they'll say, like when you hear like trumpets and they start to get louder. The feeling is kind of like that. Okay, I have a very tough decision to make. Should I continue or should I not? Because I have a really bad feeling I am about to sleep midstream yet again. So this stream is just another clickbait. Sorry guys, I'm sorry to my new followers as well. Honestly, I feel bad, especially to my new followers. If you're one of the new followers, feel free to unfollow if you like. I don't mind. Man, I really thought I could be like awake for this. Guess not. I I think I could try to stream again later. I feel okay. Maybe I'll go sleep for a bit and then I'll actually like stream again later. This time I'll actually finish it and maybe I'll finish it off stream actually. Because I do wanna try playing Resident Evil 8. I clearly haven't learned my lesson about like always be scared and then saying stuff like, oh, I'm gonna play the game which is the kind of like the I'm gonna play the sequel to this game which is also a horror game. So it's like I haven't learned anything. Okay. Um, you know what? I probably will, because I have a feeling I'm going to knock myself out soon. And again, I don't want to embarrass myself again by sleeping with streams, but I will just like sleep it off. Oh, and I'm actually not recording this. Great, I always don't remember that. Okay. Um, okay, and this time I will actually like announce when I'm streaming. I'm gonna like try to get that to try to get more of an audience pool, I guess. Alright, enough yapping. Wait, I'm not that talking, I'm sorry. Um, again, thank you so much. I'm gonna stream later. I'm gonna continue doing this, and I really hope I do finish this today, so I can at the very least start Resident Evil 8 today. Um, when I stream later, I think it will be somewhere at like 7, 6 to 7, 6, 7, 6 to 7 p.m. I'll start with that time roughly, kind of. in my time zone, which is GMT plus 8. So you I think you should. I think you could convert that to your local time zone to see um when I'll actually finishing this for real. Actually, maybe I won't. Maybe because last stream I did say that I'm going to probably finish it off stream. I'm very indecisive, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna finish it on stream. I'm gonna finish it off stream. With the way things are going right now, I'd rather just create like an entirely like new stream later just for Resident Evil 8. So like before streaming, I'm gonna finish Resident Evil 7 off stream. And I did mention like asking for help because like the only the only way, honestly, the only reason why I this far into the game, honestly, is the fact that I got help like in person. Sorry man, I'm not a brave person. I can't. Okay, okay, enough yapping. I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and yeah, you can really tell I don't have enough sleep right now because like it's like I'm not, I don't have the coherent flow of thoughts right now, and I don't think my camera is good. All right, I think I will pass myself too much. Yeah. Again, I will stream later again. At my time, which is 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Uh, GMT plus 8. You could, again, please convert that to your time zone if you want to know, because I don't have the time zone conversions memorized. I'm pretty sorry. Um, I think I might post like announcements like when I'm gonna stream. I think I'm actually gonna start using my Blue Sky and my Twitter to actually like, announce when I'm streaming. So, if you want to take note of that, you can follow me on there on Blue Sky or on Twitter. It's right. You can see the names right now on the screen, but it's also attached, like it's linked to my Twitch profile anyway. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh man, my eyes actually feel heavy. Okay, I actually need to go sleep now. Okay, so for the clickbait stream again, it's not my intention. I just underestimated the capacity I have to stream right now. I'll come back later again. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna end soon. Goodbye. Thanks for watching and have a good day. And also thank you to my new few followers this stream. That's actually the most followers I got in one stream. Thank you so much to Ghost Frame, Gamer Show _1. And the other follower I got isn't appearing, so I'm really sorry, whoever you are. I I don't really know how to like view who my followers are, but if you for bad other follower, I mean again I'm really sorry. I can't I don't know who you are, but needless to say, I appreciate dropping a follow. I appreciate tuning in the stream even for a little bit. Really sorry if I'm not tough. Like I'm not tough. This is not tough. I'm a softie, man. I'm a softie. All right. Okay. I gotta go now. Good night. Thank you for tuning in.